Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Candlelight video log. It's been a few weeks. I've been out on vacation, but I am back, and I've hit the ground running since my return, and so I want to share with you some awesome updates. And before we jump in, we'll jump back and check out where we last left off. And so I had just finished my submission of Candlelight for the Pirate Software Game Jam, and I was starting to look forward to what was next and what milestone, what deadline, what date I could set for myself to keep this project moving along. And so I came across the Steam Next Fest, which is an opportunity to demo demos. And so I've been hard at work getting my demo in the Steam store set up. It's I think we're there. We'll see. I've been back and forth with the Steam folks trying to get my store page approved for the event, and once that is done, I can go full steam ahead on the demo. So that's been a lot of fun stuff. Basically filling out this huge long checklist that you see on the right side, and that involved like making a lot of artwork for the store, which I'd like to go back and clean up at some point, but I just wanted to get some initial stuff in the store to get the ball rolling and kind of as placeholders. One thing at a time, really, and trying to knock down the highest priority stuff as I go. And so now I have a demo page, which is what you see here, and it's got a little video you can watch of the game and some screenshots and such. There's not really much going on at this point, but we are getting there. So I got to fill out all this stuff of like Windows and Mac and SteamOS requirements and figure out how to bundle the game and ship it off to Steam. So that's been a whole fun journey, but we've made a lot of good progress there. And so now on to where I am at in terms of current and next steps. So I decided to rewrite the game from scratch. So we'll return to that view in a second. I had some thoughts about this, but basically, as I think back to my junior days, or really, as I'm a React developer, that's my day job, and so I write a lot of React code. And I've got to the point where it's like muscle memory, where if I like want to build something and then expand on it, I know the steps to get there. And if I make an error, I can kind of correct myself. But with Godot, I feel like, especially because there's a rush for the game jam, I made a lot of errors, and I don't think I'm senior enough to like fix those errors at this point. I think it'd be a lot more of a headache than it'd be worth it. And maybe I'll eat those words later, who knows. But anyway, I spent the last few days basically rewriting the game from scratch. I mean, copying over a lot of code that I was fine with, but I think there were some things that I was not really happy with, and so I took the time to slow down and learn about them. So like, learn about things like project structure and how to set up variables and send around signals and messages and all that kind of good stuff. And I'm much happier with the code and the architecture of the project that I have now. And so I feel from here, I can much more productively build upon the foundation that I've already laid, whereas before it was just kind of a spaghetti mess. And so maybe I'll say this 5 more times before I'm a super confident Godot dev, but feeling pretty good about where things are at. So there's a full rewrite, and actually let's jump over to what the full rewrite looks like. So here's the game. It looks pretty familiar. It has the puzzle and daily set up, and you can jump in. And I haven't fully implemented everything yet, but like the sounds are there, and the movement and the scoring and all that good stuff. And I actually haven't fully re-implemented yet, so there's no back button to the main menu. I really wanted to focus on the things I was struggling with the most, that I didn't understand, and I wanted to build those first so I could kind of build that stronger foundation and then work on the things that were less complicated later on. So like a back button to the main menu. And so these things are both implemented. And then as I was thinking about what I wanted to build, I realized that there's kind of a lot going on because I want several different game modes. I want like a daily mode that you can get once a day. I want user-generated content. I want kind of like a puzzle speed mode, and some other things that I'm still exploring around with. And so I spent a good few hours just going through, and I won't bore you with all the details here, but just kind of clearing out my thoughts or getting my thoughts down so I could see like what things were consistent across the different game modes and what I wanted them to be, and concerns to keep. And then I got to experimenting with like game piece design and stuff like that. So this has been a fun experiment and kind of just getting down my thoughts, and you can kind of see like structure and organization starts to form. As you can kind of see consistency across, and I've got various bits in here, like red is everything that's consistent across all the different modes, and then white are things that are different. And so this helped me to kind of figure out what things would look like before I started building. So I actually did all of this before I rewrote the code, and all this thinking here inspired how I wrote the code. And so that was time well spent. I think it's made the code much more organized and well structured for moving forward. And then I spent another part of the day making beginnings of a very rough game design document. I don't think I will go too deep into it, but I wanted to start prioritizing, because I only have so much time. So I want to prioritize the features that I need that'll be most beneficial for me and for the game, and for gaining feedback for the game jam. And then I want to try and also squeeze in a round of testing with friends and family did I say game jam? I meant the Steam Fest, before Steam Fest happens. And so I made that list out today. I began to ideate on the things that I want to work on and prioritize. And the list is very rough, so I won't show it right now. And I decided I also wanted to tackle building kind of an apprenticeship mode, which is me really leaning into using the theme of the game jam was alchemy and shadows. And so I'm leaning into that terminology. And so instead of like a tutorial, we're going to call it an apprenticeship. And so I want to demo that for you as well. All right, so now when you start the game for the first time, you get this little message, and I have to learn how to get the UIs to scale, because right now things do not scale very nicely. So let me just close that, because I don't know the implications of doing that. But basically it says, welcome to your alchemy adventure, press spacebar to begin, or escape to skip the tutorial. So you'll get the tutorial once when you first join the game, and so you press space. And this is all very rudimentary still. I just wanted to get the full flow of it through, and this required some interesting thinking. But basically I'm just treating, so I have the daily game and the puzzle game set up. So those are two game modes, and I've just, with some creative thinking, have made Apprenticeship basically another game mode. And so down here is the instructions, and I'll probably clean up the UI later on, but basically it's just getting you familiar with the different movements. And so as you complete the up, down, left, right, and rotate, you move on to the next to place a piece, and then you learn how to press the Z key to undo, and then kind of the UI builds as things go along. And so it could use some improvement, but it's there. It's the series of instructions that I want to convey to the user, and I can probably convey it in a cleaner, neater way, a more kind of adventurous tone. I want to use some more fun vocabulary. Instead of things like the Q, I want to refer to it maybe as like the scrap pile, because you think of it as like metal and alchemy and that kind of stuff. And instead of target, which is the thing you're trying to build, like the gem you want to alchemize, or precious metal or something like that. So there's some room for improvement there. But the heavy lifting, the code is all there, which is awesome. And so now the user can hit escape and come in and choose from the daily game or the puzzle, and they can start playing. And so that is my progress up to now. I think as far as next steps, I'm going to continue trying to work towards the Steam Fest and get the bare minimum features in. For that, I'm thinking it'll be fun to have like user submitted content. So I'll probably start out by just designing some of the levels and providing some kind of high score mechanism so you can track your best efforts to complete each of the puzzles. And I'm working with a friend to get some custom music, so that will be pretty exciting too. So that is about all for now. You can check out the links for Twitch down below, and I will soon have a link to the playtest so you can play out and give feedback if you'd like. And feel free to subscribe to be updated on future vlogs. So yeah, that's all for now. Thanks for joining me, and until next time, happy making.